Mary Anderson has always been the pride of her family. At 75 years old, she retained a clear mind and vivacity. Her home in a small town in Pennsylvania was filled with memories, pictures of her grandchildren, family holidays, and letters from her children. Her grandchildren, James, 28, Anna, 25, and Liam, 22, were her life's meaning. She always supported them, she paid for their education, bought them gifts, and helped them financially. One morning, while drinking tea on her favorite veranda, Mary had a thought. I can't take my savings with me. Who will I leave it to? Who needs help the most? That same day, James came to visit her. He had always been her favorite. He was smart, polite, and always knew how to get along with his grandmother. Grandma, you know how much I appreciate you, he began. I know, boy, Mary smiled. I'm in a bit of a difficult situation right now. I'm planning to start a business, but I don't have enough money. I was wondering if maybe you could help me. Mary thought about it. She had always wanted to support her grandchildren in their endeavors. Okay, James. I'll think about it, she replied. A few days later, she decided to give some of her savings to James. He was delighted, but his brother and sister found out about it, and it made them unhappy. Anna called her grandmother. Grandma, why are you only helping James? It's not fair, Mary tried to explain. Anna, you know I always support you all. But right now, James needs help. Anna was not satisfied with this answer. The first cracks in the relationship began to appear. Mary felt that her decision might have caused more problems than she had anticipated. A few weeks after Mary helped James, the situation in the family became tense. Anna and Liam started acting differently, and their warm phone calls turned into short, dry conversations. Mary felt that something had changed, but she couldn't put her finger on it. One day, Anna decided to visit her grandmother. She sat in Mary's favorite chair and looked at her with indignation. Grandma, I don't understand why you decided to help only James. Don't I deserve the same support? She asked. Mary tried to explain. Anna, I love you all equally. But James needed money for his business. I'm always here to help if you need it. Anna sighed. You don't understand. I have plans too, but it's hard for me to even begin to realize them without support. Mary felt guilty. She promised to think about how to help Anna, but this only added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Liam, the youngest grandson, began to express his discontent on social media. Look, injustice in the family is something that always leaves a mark. He wrote in a post that was seen by the whole family. Mary could not believe that her own grandchildren were openly criticizing her. When she tried to talk to Liam, he said, Grandma, I love you, but you created this situation. If you helped James, you should help me. Isn't that fair? Mary was stunning. Liam, you know I'm always there for you. But money is not the most important thing. You all need to learn to appreciate what you have. Liam replied sharply, but money always solves everything, Grandma. You know that. Mary began to question whether she had done the right thing by helping James. Her decision had caused a conflict between her grandchildren, and she didn't know how to fix it. A few days later, all 3 grandchildren came to visit her. It was the first time the whole family had met in a long time, but the atmosphere was tense. Grandma, we want to talk about your money, James began. My money? I thought we were here to spend time together as a family, Mary replied. Anna interjected, Grandma, this is not just about money. This is a matter of justice. If you decide to help James, then you have to divide the money between all of us. Mary was stunned. I don't understand. I've always tried to do the best for you. Liam raised his voicing. You may have done the best for yourself, Grandma, but not for us. Mary realized that she no longer recognized her grandchildren. Those she had thought were loving and grateful had now turned into people who only thought about money. This conversation left Mary devastated. She sat in her chair, looking at old photos, and wondered, did I do something wrong? Should I have ever trusted my family? Mary Anderson was still trying to understand how things had gotten this far. Her grandchildren, whom she had raised with love and care, now seemed like strangers. In the conversation that had taken place in the living room a few days ago was on her mind. She had hoped that time would heal the wounds, but the situation was only getting worse. James, to whom she had already given a significant amount of money, stopped visiting as often as he used to. Anna and Liam didn't call either. She only saw their faces on social media, where they shared photos of expensive clothes and luxurious vacations. One day she saw Anna's postie, "I am grateful to life for the opportunity to live beautifully. Let others stay with their morals." These words struck Mary to the core. A few weeks later, Anna arrived unexpectedly. She brought a large bouquet of flowers, but her words were cold. "Grandma, I thought you needed to update your will. It's important for our future." Mary was surprised. "Anna, my will is already made. I've always made sure everything is fair," Anna replied, raising her voice slightly. "Fair. You helped James and we were left with nothing." How is that fair?" Mary tried to calm her down. "Anna, I'm still alive. My property is my decision." Anna smiled dismissively. "Maybe, but we are your future. Doesn't that matter?" After that visit, Mary began to feel that she was no longer in control of her life. Her phone rang less and less often, and even when she tried to contact her grandchildren, they made excuses not to talk. And Liam was the youngest, and Mary had always believed that he was the closest to her. But even he had changed. One day he came over and started a conversation that finally broke her trust. "Grandma, I know you want to do what's best for everyone, but maybe it's time to give me your house. I can take care of it, and you can move to a retirement home. It would be easier for everyone." Mary froze. "My house? You want me to leave my home?" "Grandma, it's just a suggestion. It would be easier for you somewhere else. And I could make a life for myself here," Liam replied, avoiding her gaze. Mary couldn't keep quiet any longer. Liam, this is my home. This is where I've lived all my life, where your parents were raised, where you took your first steps. How can you ask me to leave it?" Liam shrugged his shoulders. "I'm just thinking about the future, Grandma. You always taught us to plan." After this conversation, Mary felt all the threads that connected her to her grandchildren begin to break. She no longer saw them as the children she loved with all her heart. One evening she sat on the veranda looking at old photographs. The pictures showed her grandchildren, little James, who helped her in the garden, Anna, who baked pies with her, and Liam, who always ran to her with hugs. Mary asked herself, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Or did money destroy our family? She decided to talk to her children about her decision. Mary called her grandchildren over, hoping to have a frank conversation. But what she heard was the last straw for her. Grandma, we didn't come here to listen to you preach. We just want to know what's going to happen to your money," Anna said. Mary answered, her voice trembling with emotion. "And I wanted to talk about family. But it seems you've already made your choice." After that conversation, Mary realized that she could no longer trust her grandchildren. She was left alone in her home, which had once been filled with laughter and warmth. Every corner reminded her of the times when her family was her greatest joy. Her grandchildren stopped calling. They disappeared as suddenly as they had appeared with their demands. Mary spent several weeks in complete silence, trying to find answers to her questions. One morning she sat down by an old box in which she kept letters, photographs, and other mementos. Among them she found a letter from her late husband, written a few years before his death. Mary, always remember that true love does not require anything in return, but it also does not tolerate betrayal. Trust your heart and don't be afraid to make hard decisions. These words gave her strength. Mary decided to change her life. She contacted a lawyer to review her will. Ada knew she couldn't let her grandchildren continue to manipulate her, and she wanted to make sure her inheritance went to a good cause. I want to make a contribution to a charity that helps the elderly, she told her lawyer. Mrs. Anderson, that is a wise decision. Are you sure you want to exclude your grandchildren from your will? He asked. Mary thought for a moment, but then answered firmly, they have made their choice. Now I will make mine. Meanwhile, the loneliness began to resurface. In the evenings, when Mary sat by the fireplace, she remembered how she used to spend time with her grandchildren. She missed their laughter, their carefree spirit. One evening, Mary decided to write a letter to each of them. Dear James, Anna, and Liam, I have always loved you and will continue to love you no matter what. But now I have to set boundaries to protect myself. I hope that one day you will realize that family is not about money or inheritance. It is love and support. If you ever want to talk, I will always be here. She put the letters in envelopes but never sent them. One morning Mary decided to go into town. She went to the local cafe where she often visited with her grandchildren and met an old friend, Mrs. Henderson. Mary, you look like you're carrying the world on your shoulders. Mrs. Henderson said as she sat down next to her. Mary shared her story. Mrs. Henderson listened to her and responded, Mary, I know how much it hurts, but sometimes we have to let go of those who hurt us, even if they are our family. These words confirmed to Mary that she was on the right track. When she returned home, she began to build a new life. Mary started volunteering at a local organization that helped the elderly. She made new friends and felt needed again. But there was still an emptiness in her heart. She missed her grandchildren, but was no longer ready to let them use her. One day she received an unexpected call. It was James. Grandma, can I come to see you? He asked. Mary felt her heart clench. She didn't know what to expect, but she agreed. James' call left Mary with mixed feelings. She was glad that her grandson had finally remembered her, but anxiety was nagging at her. What does he want? Was this another attempt at manipulation? The next day, James came to the house. His appearance was different. He didn't have the self-assurance Mary had always seen before. He looked confused and even a little scared. Grandma, I'd like to talk, he said, sitting down at the kitchen table. Mary made tea and sat down silently across from him. James began to speak. Grandma, I know we all behaved terribly. I don't want to make excuses, but I realized I made a big mistake. Mary looked at him, trying to recognize the truth in his words. James, why did you decide to come here now? Looked down at her. He looked down at her. I've lost everything, Grandma. My business failed. I have no more money, and I realized I was all alone. I thought that money would solve all my problems, but now I see that I have lost the most important thing, you. Mary felt a faint hope in her heart. James, you didn't come to me for money, did you? She asked. No, Grandma. And I realized that Anna and Liam. I want to apologize. Mary sighed. James, apologizing is the first step. But are you ready to change? Are you ready to understand that family is not just about money, but about love and support? James nodded. I want to make up for my mistakes, Grandma, but I can't do it alone. The next day, Mary invited Anna and Liam to her house. She didn't tell them that James was already there, and they came thinking it would be another conversation about the inheritance. When all three grandchildren gathered in the living room, Mary looked at them and said, I didn't invite here to talk about money. I want to talk about family. Anna sighed. Grandma, we've heard that before. If you have something to say, please say it directly. Mary raised her voice. Enough. I listened to you for years. I let you manipulate me, but it's over. I won't let you use me anymore. But I'm giving you a chance to make things right. She showed them the letters she had written but never sent. I've always loved you and I still do, but love doesn't mean I have to let you destroy me. If you really want to be a part of my life, it will be on my terms. James, who had been silent until then, stood up and said, Grandma is right. We destroyed our relationship because of greed. I want to start over. Anna and Liam were stunned. Anna, who had always been sure of herself, finally spoke. Grandma, I didn't know how far we had come. I want to apologize too. Liam added, I'm ashamed, Grandma. Anna, I thought money would solve all my problems. But now I see that it only made me cruel. Mary felt her heart fill with hope. This conversation was the beginning of a reconciliation. Mary knew it would take time for them to rebuild trust, but she was willing to give them the chance. Mary sat on her porch watching the evening sunset. Her heart was heavy, but hopeful at the same time. After talking to her grandchildren, she felt that perhaps there was a chance to rebuild the family relationship, but trust was something that would have to be built from scratch. The next morning, she met with her lawyer to finalize her will. Mrs. Anderson, do you still want to leave the bulk of your assets to charity? The lawyer asked. Mary thought about it. Yes, but with one caveat. I want to create a family trust. It will not be just a transfer of money, but an opportunity for my grandchildren to show that they can work together and do something meaningful. She decided that the money would not be distributed immediately. The grandchildren would only be able to access them if they used the money for good causes, helping others, educating others, or growing the family business. Mary invited her grandchildren to another meeting, this time in a warm and cozy atmosphere. She prepared dinner, just as she had done many years ago when they were children. At the table, she explained her decision, and you know you've all made mistakes. And I made mistakes, too, when I didn't show you that the most important thing in life is not money, but how we treat each other. But now we have a chance to make things right. Anna, who had always argued before, was silent this time. She looked up at Mary and said, Grandma, I realize how much we've lost because of our greed. We don't deserve this chance, but I'm grateful that you're giving us one. James and Liam nodded. They also promised to change. Mary felt relieved, but she knew that words were only the beginning. She decided to give them a challenge to create a project that would help the local community. This was their first step in proving their commitment to family values. Over the next few months, the grandchildren began working on an idea. They created a support center for seniors in their town. It was a place where people could get help, find friends, and feel that they were not alone. Mary visited the center often and saw her. They no longer argued with each other, but worked as a team. One evening, when the center opened its doors to its first visitors, Anna approached Mary and said, Grandma, now I understand why you always said that money is not the main thing. I feel happy when I see how our actions benefit others. James and Liam also came up to thank Mary for her patience and wisdom. Grandma, we finally realized that the real legacy is not money, but what you leave in people's hearts, James said. Mary sits in the support center, talking to other seniors. Her face is radiant with peace and pride. She knows she made the right choice. If you like this story about family values, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new touching stories. Your support inspires us to create even more heart-touching stories.